I looked at him. The one who once gently protected me, now piercing my abdomen with a cold blade. He betrayed me, our family, and even his own conscience. Yet, I still loved him. Chapter 30 for boyfriends. Well, this is awkward. Many people were gathered around me and Daniel on our way to the car, staring at us in shock. His dad, who I had to meet in this awkward situation. Jeremy, Lucas, Blair, Luna, Madeline, and a few other wolves from the pack. Awkwardly, I rubbed the back of my neck, which was a bad idea. I drew more attention to the recent mark, so every onus eyes fell upon it once again. Jeremy came up to me and wrapped an arm around my shoulder, like he does to Daniel and Lucas. You guys got real busy last night, didn't you? He teased with a wide smirk. I looked away, embarrassment showing on my face. Daniel quickly unwrapped Jeremy's arm from my shoulder and protectively pulled me into him. I heard a low growl emerge from his throat. Jeremy, Madeline smacked him on the back of the head, as if you're E1 to talk. You mocked this lovely young lady, not even a day after meeting her. Leigh crossed her arms at the attention that was now drawn to her. He grumbled, but kept quiet afterwards. Eliza approached us with a smile on her face. I'm glad you and my son have united as partners. I wish the best for you two. A smirk formed on her face. But make sure you save the kids for after high school. Madeline, Daniel's dad, and a few others chuckled. Mom, really? Daniel groaned. She has a point, his father added. He looked over at me and continued. I don't think we've been properly introduced, but you can call me Keen Anne. No need for any titles. You're E-family. Thank you. Now hurry up and get to school. Madeline ushered us into the car. Good luck at school. Losers. Blair smirked, her arms crossed in contempt. It must be nice to be finished with high school already. She graduated last year and will be turning 19 soon. Jeremy drew her into him by her hips. His face fell into her neck, and he mumbled, I wish I could stay with you. Blair had a mischievous look on her face. That's always an option. Madeline raised an eyebrow. Jeremy leaned down for a kiss. Not wanting to part from her, he pulled her body closer, but she broke away. See, I'm on. You baby. We can see each other later. Jeremy frowned, but gave her a peck on the cheek and got into the driver's seat. Romeo, you're making us late. Daniel teased from beside me. You're not the one who had to say goodbye to your mate. Jeremy huffed as he started the car. Lucas, who was sat quietly in the passenger's side. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. At least you guys have your mates. I've never heard him complain before. That's true. Daniel pulled me closer to him. I'm lucky to have found my beautiful princess. You'll get M one day. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Jeremy chimed in. Your mum's dog has been looking pretty last few days. Maybe you'll have a shot. Lucas nudged Jeremy. Daniel. Jeremy. And I burst out laughing. The thought of him in wolf form trying to seduce the dog Rosie kept me laughing even more. It was funny seeing this side of Lucas, and it was nice knowing that he was warming up to me. When we arrived at school, I stopped and looked over at Daniel. He noticed, and asked, What is it? Lauren. I reached over and grabbed his hand, intertwining our fingers together. He looked surprised for a second. Is this okay? You don't mind doing this at school? You're my boyfriend, so I don't see why not. I affirmed, a soft smile resting on my face. I noticed a small blush creep onto his face. It was the most adorable thing ever. I pinched his cheek before standing on my tiptoes to give it a kiss. He pulled up his hoodie to cover his face and began walking without me. I chuckled, smiling to myself. It was nice seeing him be embarrassed like this. I wish it would happen more often. We walked hand in hand towards the school. Jeremy and Lucas had left us long ago, so it was just the two of us. Since we had a bit of time before class, we decided to walk around together, trying to spend as much time together as possible before we had to part. We ended up in the lunch area and decided to take a shortcut back through a grass path at the edge of the school. You like those? Eating snails is nasty. I made a disgusted face at Daniel, which resulted in him pinching both my cheeks just like I did to him not too long ago. Have you even tried it? He raised an eyebrow at me. No, but I don't need to. That's so gross. Daniel crossed his arms. You can't say anything until you try them. Our conversation came to a sudden stop when we came across Julian and Roland, hugging and kissing, with their tongues down each other's throats. I froze and looked at Daniel, who was looking at me with the same expression. We both looked back at them, but I quickly turned back to Daniel. Your holy eyes. I reached over and quickly covered Daniel's eyes with my hand. Lauren, princess, you do realize that we have done worse, right? The other day, don't say it out loud. Daniel removed my hand from his face. We both realized that Julian and Roland were now staring at us, in the same position we had last seen them. The shock in their eyes was evident. Oh shit, I heard Julian mutter under his breath. Don't mind us. Please. Continue. I told innocently. Roland awkwardly rubbed his arm. He looked extremely embarrassed. I took Daniel's hand and approached them. So you ray gay? I asked Julian. So you way straight? He imitated my tone, signaling to Daniel. I narrowed my eyes at him, touched Julian, and I chuckled. I thought back to the time Julian introduced Roland to us. Something about it seemed off, and they were really awkward about it. He seemed hesitant, like he was holding something back. I'm guessing this is why. Why did you introduce him as your friend and not as your boyfriend? I asked him. Well, he looked over at Roland, took his hand, and continued. Not many people are okay with gay relationships. We didn't want to have to go through any of that bullshit. Plus, no one knows I'm gay. Well, except for him. Obviously, you could have told us. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That doesn't matter to me. Hell, Carly has made out with a girl before. What? No way. Julian exclaimed, shocked about my revelation. Are you for real? Daniel looked at me, equally as surprised. I nodded. 3rd year of high school. We were at a party. It was freaking hot were her exact words about it. I laughed to myself. Oh, how I miss that girl. Good to know we're not alone. Huh, Julie and nudged Roland. Well, this isn't something you need to hide from us. And don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I say us, but we're not on good terms right now. I hope that, someday, Carly can find it in her heart to forgive me. Thanks. Horen. What did you say? Daniel stepped forward and glared at Julian. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If I didn't have a boyfriend to totally steal him away from you. Julian wiggled his eyebrows at me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Roland raised an eyebrow at Julian. I'm kidding. You know I love you. He pulled Roland into his side. Daniel looked at me. What's this Nitrey war about? Don't worry about it. It's just Nitrey Carly used to call me. I'm totally okay with it. I smiled slightly. We're going to class now. Make sure you tell me all the details about your boy toy later. Oh, and feel free to use our make-out spot. He winked at us before turning around and leaving with Roland. I looked at Daniel and said, we should get to class too. As I was gonna begin to walk, he took my hand and pulled me back. He had a smirk on his face and said, he said we can take their make-out spot. But that doesn't mean. Daniel picked me up and wrapped my legs around his waist, pushing me against the wall. Doesn't mean what? He whispered against my lips. I smashed my lips against his. Immediately, he kissed me back desperately, pressing his body against mine. He groaned into my lips before kissing the mark he made on my neck and running over the skin with his tongue. Closing my eyes at the feeling. Would definitely get into class late. Chapter 35 Surprise attacked Daniel. Jeremy and Lucas were sitting with me at the table. My eyes traveled around the cafeteria looking for a short, energetic brunette. She didn't appear to be here. Wondering if we would continue being like this forever. Daniel must be noticed. He took my hand into his under the table and gave me a concerned look. I squeezed his hand and forced a small smile. He knew something was up but didn't question me. Isn't it crazy? We're almost done with this hellhole. A few more weeks and we're done with school. Jeremy jabbered excitedly. I don't know why they make us come here in the first place. Lucas added. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It's a waste of time. Well, Daniel began. It's kind of babysitting while our parents do their important business. Yeah, like make more kids while we're not home, Jeremy remarked. Daniel raised a brow. The only one here with any siblings is Lucas. What? No way. I didn't know that. I exclaimed. Lucas looked over to me. Yeah, she's a few years younger than us. I'm surprised I've never met her. She sticks around to his parents a lot and doesn't like to go out too much. Daniel explained. I nodded. Oh, I see. It would be nice to meet her. I wonder how much she resembles Lucas. They're pretty similar. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If he puts on a wig, he'll look just like her. Jeremy grinned. Before Lucas could respond, the fire alarms started going off. Chatter escalated in the cafeteria as everyone either went into panic or started making jokes about the situation. Some students immediately stood up, running to the nearest exit. A kick echoed through the cafeteria before we heard a voice through the speakers. This is not it real. Everyone cautiously make your way to the outside key area. No pushing or shoving. I repeat, this is not it real. Immediately, Daniel grabbed my arm. The four of us looked at each other before we quickly started making our way outside. I'm not sure why, but I had a bad feeling about this. The smell of smoke started to reach my nose, meaning that the fire was nearby. Daniel, Jeremy, and Lucas also noticed due to our heightened senses. If we could smell smoke, it must mean the fire was pretty bad. What the hell happened? Jeremy spoke under his breath. Daniel held on to me tightly, making sure we don't get separated from each other. Other students were pushing to get out first, despite the announcement to avoid exactly that. Just as we were about to exit, I hear faint yelling. Immediately, I stopped walking. Students pushed past me, fighting to get outside. The boys stopped with me, looking at me in confusion. I focused in on the sound, blocking out the commotion going on around me. When I heard whose voice it was, I immediately broke into a run, going the opposite direction everyone was heading. No, Daniel pulled me back to him. Where are you going? Daniel, my friends are in danger. You don't hear that? She's calling out to Nathan right now. I cried out. He looked at Jeremy and Lucas for a second. You're right. It sounds like someone's in trouble. Jeremy muttered. I have to go find her. Daniel's eyes held a worried gaze, his eyebrows creasing together. It could be dangerous. I won't let you go. Or at least let me go with you. I grabbed his hand and began pulling him towards me. Let's go quickly. Daniel looked back to Lucas and Jeremy. You guys go outside where it's safe. Jeremy nodded. Good luck. Daniel nodded back. And then we quickly took off. We were pushing past many students, running in the opposite direction. Slowly, the number of students we encountered started to lessen until it was just me and Daniel running through the hallway. Smoke started to become visible. We were getting closer to the source of the fire. We quickly stopped when we heard coughing. A hooded boy WSS collapsed on the floor. I could recognize him anywhere. Evan was coughing uncontrollably on the floor, tears gathering around his eyes. Evan. I quickly ran over to him, helping him up. Evan. What's wrong? In between cough, he managed to say. I have asthma. I quickly looked over at Daniel, giving him a worried expression. He looked at me and back at Evan. Do you have an inhaler? He asked Evan. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm into nurse's office. Evan. Daniel and I will get it for you. We'll be back as soon as we possibly can. He started wheezing, tightly clutching his chest. Daniel pulled me aside quickly. You're in. I can help him. You'll get his inhaler. You go help your friend. He seemed reluctant to part, but he knew Evan was the only one in danger right now. I smiled slightly. Thank you. Immediately, I ran in the direction I had previously heard my best friend's cries. Be careful, Daniel shouted from behind me. With my werewolf speed, I reached Carly in a matter of seconds. By the strong smell, I knew this was the source of the fire. Please, just get out of here. I heard Nathan's muffled voice coming from behind a door. No, I'm not leaving, Carly cried out. Her eyes were red, tear-stained, her cheeks and smudged her mascara. She was kneeling on the floor, banging against the door to the boys' bathroom. Without hesitation, I ran to her. I fell to the ground beside Carly and cupped her face in my hands. She began sobbing, wrapping her arms around me. HES stuck in there. You can't get out. I heard coughing from the other side of the door. The source of the fire was on the other side, meaning Nathan was trapped in there with a growing fire. Another voice called from the other side of the door. Please, get us out. It sounded panicked and scared. I quickly stood up and tried to pull down the handle for the door, only to pull back my hand quickly. The handle was extremely hot to the touch. I tried that already. Carly yelled as tears streamed down her face. I heard kicking from the other side of the door, but it didn't seem to work. You guys, can you stand back? I shouted to them. There's not much space. The fire's spreading. The unfamiliar, panicked voice said urgently from the other side of the door. Just move away from the door. I'm gonna kick it down. I gave it a small kick at first, but it merely made a dent on the door. The second time, I didn't hold back any strength. The door was knocked off its hinges and sent flying into the flames, consuming the bathroom. Nathan and the other boy quickly ran out of the bathroom holding a cloth over their faces. The other boy didn't stop running. He ran out the building while Carly ran into Nathan's arms. When they embraced each other tightly, Carly finally relaxed. I'm glad you are both safe, but let's get the hell out of here, I urged them. Nathan seemed a little out of it, like he was close to passing out. I wrapped his arm around my shoulder and helped him down the hallway. He seemed to be losing strength. Somehow, he still managed to make a joke. Someone clearly hasn't skipped leg day. You demolished that door like it was nothing, he said weakly. I chuckled. Just focus on getting out of here for now. Carly looked at me knowingly. She wiped the tears from her face and took Nathan's other side, wrapping his arm around her shoulder just as I did. I almost choked when I was yanked back by my collar. Luckily Carly was holding on to Nathan, so he didn't fall. I let go when I felt myself being sent backwards. All I could see was Carly's concerned, petrified face when I was pulled away from them. I couldn't see who it was, but I had a very strong feeling I knew. Fear shook me to the bone, especially after what happened last time. However, I needed to make sure Carly and Nathan were safe. Carly, get out of here. Her face grew worried. But I can take care of this. Trust me. Hesitantly, she nodded. She turned and quickly began to walk Nathan to safety. Soon they were out of sight. Slowly, I turned around to meet an ice-cold stare. Before I could react, a blade pierced my stomach. Immediately, I felt a sharp pain as blood began to rush out. My face was struck by his fist, decorated with knuckle rings meant for fighting. Blood trickled down my lip as I fell to the floor. He hit me before I could even realize what was going on. He came out of nowhere, beating me just as easily as he did last time. Raphael injected something into my arm as I rolled over in pain. He easily picked me up and threw me over his shoulder, carrying me away from the scene. Chapter 36. Abducted. My body shivered. The floor was extremely cold and my body temperature was dropping quickly. My wolf was gone. It was like other times when she would be asleep or avoiding me. Her presence was completely gone. A shiver ran down my back. Not just because I was freezing cold, but because I had no means to protect myself right now. I couldn't shift. I didn't have any of my heightened abilities, and I couldn't sense Daniel's wolf mind link with him. It was as if I was just an ordinary human. It was extremely difficult to see. The room was pitch black, but it seemed to be a basement of some sort. My hands were tied behind my back, which made it even harder to come up with a way to escape. I jumped when I heard a small, muffled noise. My heart accelerated, feeling as if it would beat out of my chest. I didn't know where the sound came from. All I knew was that someone else was in here with me. What could their intentions be? Considering the situation I was in, they were likely here to harm me. I had never been so terrified in my life. I got an impending feeling of doom as I tightly shut my eyes, at a loss of hope in this situation. Then, I heard sobbing. A woman was crying her eyes out a few feet away from me. I didn't know what was going on, but now I didn't think she was someone who was trying to harm me. Are you okay? My voice broke out. Suddenly, the crying stopped. There was a long pause before a shaky voice responded. Lauren. I knew who it was immediately from the voice. It was unusual hearing her voice like this. It was usually filled with such confidence, but now it was completely broken. All confidence gone. Blair, how did you get here? I went to go pick up my stuff from my part-time, but before I could get there I was shot with something. Some kind of injection. It killed my wolf. She's gone. She's gone forever, Blair managed to say, her voice faltering at the end. No way. Is that what I was injected with earlier? Is that what they did to my wolf? Is Alex dead? I began to panic as tears threatened to escape. How are you feeling? I asked Blair, not knowing what to say. I was just hoping I could comfort her in some way. Like shit. Like a part of me has died. Absolutely powerless. I couldn't see her, but I inched closer to the source of her voice until I reached her. She was sitting on the floor, leaning against a wall. I couldn't give her a hug, but I sat next to her shoulder to shoulder. She let me, and even put her head on my shoulder. I heard her soft sniffles as she tried to hold herself back from crying. A tear rolled down my cheek. I'm sorry. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. For not being able to save you. As we both sat beside each other, comforting one another, I stared into the darkness trying to come to terms with this. I didn't know Blair for very long, but we were both in shock right now. I didn't feel when my wolf was dying, but I can sense that she's gone. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I hope that Daniel's okay. I hope that Carly and Nathan are okay. I hope that Evan and Eddie else is okay and safe. A door slammed open, allowing light to fill the pitch-black room. My eyes squinted at the sudden change. I first looked at Blair, who looked like an absolute mess. Her hair was tousled and her face stained with tears. Even Blair's eyes were puffy and her nose red. My attention turned to the source of light. A tall figure stood at the door. He has a disheveled image. Something about him struck out to me as ugly and gross, but I didn't recognize him and don't think I have ever seen him before in my life. He glared at Blair, the new alpha's bitch. She sat up straight and glared back at him. Fuck. She was trying to act tough, as if she was scared. He was in front of us in a matter of seconds. I watched in horror as he yanked her hair and forcefully pulled her head up to look at him. "I'd keep my mouth shut if I were you," he threatened. "I need to keep you alive until we kill for John. But that doesn't mean I can't break a few bones." His bloodshot eyes turned to me. He yanked my arm to pull me up. "Come with me now," I protested. kicking my legs so that he lets me go. He threw me across the room, my head smashing against a stone wall. I clenched my jaw and grunted in pain. I felt myself being picked up again. He dragged me out of the room, down a small hallway. My head was hot as blood began to drip down its side. I was taken to another stone room where I was roughly dropped onto the floor. A headache was beginning to bring pain to the frontal part of my head. Still, I looked up to see the guy leaving the room. My entire body froze when I saw Raphael. I attempted to back away, but struggled because of my tied hands. His eyes watched me coldly as I began to shake in terror. "Why are you on their side?" he asked abruptly in a gruff voice. "What?" I uttered under my breath, taken aback by what he asked me. His eyes narrowed at me. "Alpha Jonax all high and mighty, but Gaichi is just cum piece of shit," he snarled. I glared at Raphael. I don't know him very well, but Alpha John is an amazing father and mate. He has done a good job of running the pack and has earned my respect. "You don't know what you're talking about," I shouted at him. I was furious at Raphael. He has caused me so much fucking pain. He has tormented me for years and nearly killed me. Raphael still has the audacity to badmouth the person who boldly led this pack for decades. The person who allowed me to integrate back into the pack and stay with his son, Daniel, and Lucas. I was visibly feeding Raphael's anger. He did not me opposing him. "You don't know anything." Achie is a shitty leader who only cares about himself. He sent two loyal pack members to their death. He paused for a moment. "He killed my sister and her mate." Chapter 37 Vengeance. My eyes went wide at his words. "What?" Though it came out as a whisper, he took a step towards me. "You don't want revenge for your parents." My mouth opened, but no words came out. I was speechless. When the shock settled, I was able to begin questioning him. "How can I trust what you're saying? I can tell you what really happened. Whether you believe me or not is up to you. You can even ask that an alpha and see what he has to say for himself. When he doesn't deny it, you'll see him right." Raphael spoke with a cold expression, and despite not wanting to believe that what he said is true, something told me he was lying. Still, I can't just take his word for this. When I didn't respond, he began explaining. "What you think is that your parents died in a car accident. That's the cover story they used. They were first attacked in the car, but that's not where they died. It would have been better if they did." Raphael paused, his face scrunched up before falling to a sad expression. I stiffened at the sight of this. It was hard to believe that Raphael still had emotions. He continued, "My sister and Fletcher were on a mission for the Alpha, but that coward omitted information from them. They thought they were going to deal with a problem at the boundary of our territory, but what the Alpha didn't tell them was that they would deal with a large group of rogues who were out for his blood. He was supposed to show up by himself so that his family was not harmed, but he sent your father in his place. Your mother was not supposed to go with him, but she insisted that she wanted to accompany him." A small gasp escaped my mouth. My pulse increased as the shocking revelation registered into my brain. Did Jeremy's dad really send my dad to his death? They didn't even make it before they were out. The rogues knew your father was not the Alpha, so they took them and tortured them to get information. They were foolishly loyal to their pack and eventually died. Tortured to death. I was completely speechless as tears began to form around the brims of my eyes. My parents, who did nothing but love and be kind to others, were brutally tortured. My heart ate as I imagined everything they could have possibly been through. Raphael simply turned, looking away from me solemnly. This was the most emotion I had seen from him since their death. He came up to me and eyed my hands. I got up and ran my fingers over my bruised wrists. "Your wolf has been suppressed, but she has not gone permanently. It will take a few days until she can return, unless you join me and I give you a reversal serum." "Not dead." I was surprised, since I was so sure she was gone for good. "Unlike the other girl, we gave you a temporary wolf suppressor, so Blair's wolf is really gone. I want you to join me and the other rogues. We plan to eliminate the former Alpha and his son." "Wait a minute, so you're telling me that you're working with rogues?" The very animals that tortured my parents. These are a different set of rogues. Those good-for-nothings were killed not long after my sister died. We all have our own reasons for wanting revenge on the Alpha family. What if I don't join you? His face hardened. I shove you back into that stupid basement and kill your wolf for good, then kill the other girl. I'm doing this with or without you. But if you join us, we can both get revenge for my sister. Raphael was out of his mind if he thought I was joining him. Don't get me wrong. I'm upset with the former Alpha. But the new Alpha is Jeremy, and I hope that he will be a better leader. He's my friend, my Alpha, and I don't want to put him in danger. And Daniel, he treats me like I'm the most precious thing to ever exist. He is my mate. I don't want him to be put in harm's way. No way in hell am I helping you. I declare firmly. His eyes narrowed at me. Any emotion he showed earlier left his face. You're being foolish. You're the foolish one if you really think I would help you. Raphael raises a hand to forcefully grab my face. I attempt to move out his hold, but to no avail. I was no match to his strength when I had my wolf, so I had no chance of winning in a fight right now. I'd think about it if I were you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You have a lot to lose. He let go of my face and abruptly threw me over his shoulder. I didn't even try protesting at this point. As much as his touch disgusted me, I was powerless against him. Eventually, we reached the basement I was in before. He put me down, more gently than I expected him to. He pushed me inside and said, "Think about what I told you," before slamming the door shut. I shivered as the darkness of the room enveloped me once again. I wondered why he was so bent on getting me to join him. Maybe it was because he knew that I have information on the leaders of the pack, that they let me stay in one of their homes. Or maybe it's because I'm the only family he has left, and even if it's gone cold, he still has a heart. "Lauren," Blair whimpered, "are you okay?" "Don't worry. I'm fine." I took careful steps, making my way to the source of her voice. "I was worried something happened to you." Once I reached her, I sat next to her on the floor. Raphael never tied my hands again, so I untied the rope around her hands to set them free. "I'm all right." I lowered my voice to a whisper and spoke once again, "and I might have a way to get us out of here." I heard her breath hitch. She took the hint and began to whisper as well. "How? We were brought here by my uncle. He took a dark path and joined the rogues to harm Alpha John and his family now." She shrieked. "Jeremy, will he be okay?" I heard the worry in her voice. She just met her mate. It would be devastating to have him taken away already. I really hope so. My uncle plans to kill him, but he and the pack are strong. They know how to take care of themselves. She once again rested her head on my shoulder. "Why is it that all we can do is hope? Is there really nothing we can do? I have a plan that will get us out of here. Remember, it'll warn our mates and the pack of wits to come." I feign confidence as I try to reassure her. Raphael is giving me a chance to warn everyone, and my only hope is that I get my wolf back in time to do so. Chapter 38. Cure days passed in the dark, where all we had was each other. Blair opened up about her parents. Her mother was from our pack, but her father was from another. Her mother joined her father's pack, but after he died they moved back to our small town. Her older brother chose to stay in their father's pack, so they have been separated for almost 3 years. Blair also told me about her new relationship with Jeremy. She told me about how Shess only known him for a few days, but to her it's felt like months. They already have a strong bond and are opening up to one another. Having conversations with one another helped make the situation easier to handle. Talking about Jeremy especially calmed her down. It put her at ease despite the stressful situation. "What about you and Daniel?" she asked me. I took a second to think about her question. "It's been a long journey for us." "Well, to be honest, I haven't made it easy for us. I kind of caused a lot of problems for him." To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. "Like what?" I thought he was attracted to my best friend who had a crush on him, but it turns out it was me he was attracted to because he knew that he was my mate even before I turned 18. I sat in silence for a few seconds waiting for her response. Well, that's uncomplicated. Tell me about it. That's not even half of it. I also tried rejecting him and avoiding him, but eventually he held me hostage in their house. In reality, I could have left if I wanted to, but I just didn't want to leave his side. After spending some time together, I gave in. I knew I couldn't avoid him anymore, but I hid it from my friend. Oh, she commented, knowing where this was going. She was hurt when she found she's still mad at me, but I just want her to talk to me again. I miss her. Blair chuckled softly. With all this drama you could write a book, despite the situation. I know. Right. But you and Daniel are together now and seem happy. So I'm glad for you. I just hope you and your friend can work things out. Thank you. It means a lot. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I felt her shift a little before changing topics. By the way, what exactly is your plan to escape? My heart sank at her question. I would have to tell her that her wolf is dead but mine isn't. Raphael told me that my wolf isn't dead. She's only suppressed. I felt her straighten up and, if it was completely dark in here, I knew I would see the relief wash over her face. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Does that mean, I'm sorry, they killed your wolf? She shrank beside me once again. No, it's okay, she said disappointedly. I shouldn't have expected anything. But keep telling me about your plan. Raphael said that the suppressant would wear off eventually, so I'm just hoping that it will wear off soon so that I can use the mate bond to contact Daniel. If that doesn't happen by tomorrow, I'm thinking of telling Raphael that he'll help him with his plan. Isn't that dangerous? Yeah, but it's the only thing I can do right now. We can't just sit in here waiting to either be killed or rescued. I could feel Blair shift beside me uncomfortably. It was the best plan, but it was all we had for now. I really hoped that it wouldn't come to this. But my wolf didn't come back no matter how much I prayed she would. As we waited for one of the rogues to check on us, I spent my last moments in this basement with Blair. I'm sorry that I'll be leaving you in here alone. They'll try to rescue you as soon as possible, I told her apologetically. I felt bad for leaving her here alone. Don't worry about me. Just be safe. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Despite knowing there was no guarantee for my safety, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I will. Moments later, the door opened and light filled the dim basement. My eyes landed on the rogue who threw a tray of food onto the ground. It slid towards us, barely stopping before our feet. I hope you to fight over it like dogs, he remarked smugly, just as he was about to close the door. I called out to him. Wait. He paused and looked at me with disgust. What? I want to speak to Raphael now. He tried to close the door, but I called out once again. Please. Tell him I'll join him. I'll do what he wants. I just want my wolf back. The rogue eyed me suspiciously, but he agreed. Fine. Come with me. I stood up slowly. I was still in pain from the injuries I've obtained the past few days. As I walked through the mysterious hallway and up the flight of stairs, I looked around subtly to take note of which direction we were headed. I knew we were approaching the room Raphael and I previously had our conversation. I recognized the area from last time. After the rogue escorted me into the room. Wait for him here. He'll be back soon. And don't try anything. He'll be guarding right outside this door. He closed the door, enclosing me in the small room. Now that I got to look at it better, it was like a small office. After waiting around for a few minutes, my curiosity pushed me to wander around the room and inspect the things they had in here. They had a shelf of books, but one that stood out to me was called Werewolf Potions. I carefully pulled out the book and flipped through some pages. The book looked like it was hundreds of years old. The pages were turning yellow and some words were hard to read because they were beginning to fade. Not to mention that the book was handwritten with some drawings attached. As I looked through the pages, my face sank in horror. Werewolf greatest weaknesses, silver and wolfsbane. How to kill a werewolf wolf. How to mask your scent. And how to dispose of werewolves. There were all sections in this book. Its purpose was to find ways to harm wolves. That was its sole reason for existing. I quickly put the book away, not even wanting to look at it. My eyes fell to a small basket of syringes, bottles, and pills. I shakily picked up one of the syringes and saw the label X1047, Wolf Extermination. This must be what they gave to Blair. Then I froze as I came to a realization. I frantically began searching the syringes and tubes, looking for something that might bring back my wolf. Raphael said that they had a cure for bringing back my wolf. If I play into their plan, they might not give me the remedy right away, if at all. I came across a syringe that said, X2401, remedy, but it didn't specify what kind of remedy. None of the other syringes or bottles were any kind of cures or remedies, but taking this would be a gamble. Hell, it might even kill me. I didn't even know if the cure was a real thing or if he just made it up, but my anxiety grew as I sit still contemplating this. Raphael could walk in any moment and my chance would be gone. I took a deep breath and made my decision. I slipped the syringe under the waistband of my jeans. Luckily it had a cap or else I would get stabbed by it with every step. I knocked on the door I came in from and the rogue opened the door cautiously. Tu es agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He asked sharply, sounding irritated. Is Raphael coming back soon? It's been a while. Can't you just be patient? He has some business to take care of. He'll be back in 30 minutes. Then is it okay if I go to the bathroom meanwhile? Since you only let us go twice a day. I've been holding it since yesterday. I asked submissively, lowering my head to him. My attitude seemed to please him as it fed into his ego and made him feel better and stronger than me. Fine, but you filthy animals can't use our bathroom. Go to the basement bathroom. Good thing rogues are all stupid. Power-hungry idiots. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I replied softly, continuing to bow my head. I thought he was going to walk me to the bathroom and wait outside for me, but this rogue is more lazy and stupid than I thought. I made my way downstairs and walked past the bathroom, heading straight to the basement. I softly opened the door and saw Blair jump at the movement. I saw a wave of surprise then relief wash over her. Since I knew this door could only be opened from the outside, I called her over to me so that the door wouldn't close. I motioned with my finger for her to be quiet. She quietly made her way over to me. I pulled out the syringe, showing her the label. She looked at me with wide, knowing eyes. Enthusiasm. In my hands I held the cure to getting my wolf back. Or at least I hope I do. I would have taken the injection sooner, but I wanted Blair to know that I was going to take it. Or what would become of me if this went wrong? As I uncapped the syringe, she signaled to herself, offering to give me the shot. I handed her the needle and tightly closed my eyes. She gently held my arm as the needle pricked my skin. I opened my eyes slowly, one at a time. I met Blair's eyes, which gave me an expectant look. Not feeling any different than before, disappointment began to wash over me. It must not have worked. I should feel something already. Right. But I spoke too soon. An immediate, sharp pain formed in my head. It began to spin, then pulse. I immediately dropped to the floor, my fingers gripping my hair as if it would ease any of the pain. Despite this, I tried my best to keep quiet so that the rogue wouldn't be alerted of this. Blair caught the door so that it wouldn't close, then knelt down beside me. What's wrong? I think that she mouthed to me, but it's hard to tell. Just as I thought the pain was easing up, a second wave of pain hit me twice as strong as the first. I couldn't help but grunt and whimper in pain. What is going on down there? Fuck. Blair picks me up and puts my arm around her shoulder. She rushes out of the basement, letting the door slam behind us. She should have just hid in the basement and pretended like she didn't know what was going on with me. Now she's going to get hurt too. I heard the rogue's footsteps coming down the stairs and I knew it was over. I couldn't even stand on my own. What good would I be in this situation? A familiar voice echoed in my throbbing head. You can't do anything. But I can. Alec's strong presence overwhelmed me. I could feel her itching to take over. So I happily let her. Extra, panicked Daniel's POV, I run to the hallway, carrying the frail boy out of the school. He seemed too weak to run, even after giving him his inhaler. So this was my only option. I reach the outside, but my heart sinks when I see Jeremy and Lucas standing outside. Alone, without Lauren. I deliver the boy to some teachers who should know what to in this situation and quickly run over to them. Where is she? I ask frantically. I'm sorry. She hasn't come out yet. Lucas responded solemnly. I immediately ran back inside. I don't care if I have to search through the flames. I'm not leaving here without her. I run around like a maniac looking for her, calling out her name. I begin to cough as the smoke gets thicker. The bad feeling settles at the pit of my stomach and washes over me. Something bad happened. I just know it. My heart nearly breaks when I see her two friends walking towards me. Why isn't she with them? I run up to them and ask, where is she? The brunette wrinkles her eyebrows together and responds, she well. She was with her uncle. What? My roar echoes in the hallway. She visibly shrinks at my voice. Do you know what that monster has done to her? How could you leave her alone with him? I shouted her, completely furious that they left my mate with that good-for-nothing rogue. I stop and breath for a second. I'm losing my cool when I need to be looking for her. Where did you last see them? I ask impatiently. She points to where she was coming from. East hallway. I glance at her friend who is barely hanging onto her shoulder. He looks like HES passed out. Get him to safety, I say before sprinting past them. Make sure she's safe. She mutters softly. To our agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I turn and run down the hallway, heading towards the east hall. However, I stop in my tracks as my body runs cold. I can't feel her anymore. Her presence. I can't feel her wolf. Our mate bond's been severed. A chill ran through my body as the warmth of her presence disappeared. I stumbled towards one of the walls to hold myself up. It burned my skin, but that didn't even begin to compare to the pain I'm feeling right now. I grab at the front of my hair as tears run down my face. Lauren. She's gone. I just want to shrink up into a ball and disappear. My heart aches at the thought of her no longer being by my side. The person I treasure most in this world. At one point, I didn't even realize that I was still surrounded by smoke, a few feet away from the flames. I don't know how long I've been here for, but I was pulled back to reality when Jeremy and Lucas dragged me out of the burning building. When they didn't find her body, they thought there was a possibility she might still be alive. Despite not feeling her wolf or her presence, I had to have some hope. I desperately wanted to believe that she was still alive, or else I would completely break down. I longed for her touch, her laugh, her embrace. Nothing in the world could ever replace the warmness and comfort she gave me. Not knowing where or how she was, or whether she was even alive, was torture. I hated myself for suggesting that we go different ways. I should have stayed by her side no matter what. I should have been there to protect her. A day of worry meant I extremely slow. It didn't help that we couldn't find anything about her uncle's whereabouts. All I wanted was to rip him to shreds. Just thinking about the fact that he hurt her or could be hurting her right now made me shake with anger. Everyone was caught off guard with her disappearance that they didn't stop to think that anything else might happen, or that someone else might get hurt. The day after her disappearance, Blair disappeared as well. Jeremy turned into a madman, throwing fits then crying his eyes out. He said his connection to her wolf was gone, and that he could no longer feel her presence. It was the same thing I felt with Lauren. But again they didn't find her body or anything. Now things were serious. It was just one pack member who disappeared. Now it was a pack member and a new Luna. The former Alpha and Jeremy gathered all the people in power and all the warriors. They ordered them to search the lands for the Luna and my mate. Although there were no confirmations, we suspected it was the rogues who targeted us weeks ago. They were after the Alpha lineage. They wanted to hurt Jeremy and his father. Blair was just caught in the crossfire. I'm not sure what part Lauren's uncle plays in this, but I'm going to kill him if I ever get my hands on him. I had so many regrets. I wished I would have taken the rogues more seriously, but I was clouded by my worry for Lauren when she got shot because of me. I also should have stayed by her side that day instead of letting her go alone. I should have been a better Delta, but more importantly a better mate. Jeremy and I grew restless past and nothing came up about our mates. Every lead turned into a dead end. Eventually we realized that we were in the dark with no clues and no solid evidence. The more days that passed, the more hope slipped away from me, until her warm presence made me feel complete once again. If I wasn't in a meeting with Jeremy, Lucas, my father, and the former Alpha and Beta, I would have cried on the spot. I was overwhelmed with relief when our mate bond was restored. She and her wolf were alive. However, just because she was alive didn't mean she was safe. I immediately stood up, interrupting the former Alpha. I apologize for the interruption, but this is urgent. The mate bond between Laura and I has been re-established. She's alive. I can take us to her. Jeremy shot me a worried expression. He must not have felt the reconnection with his mate. Former Alpha John spoke right away. Quick, gather some warriors. We're retrieving the girl and your Luna. Chapter 39 on my tail. Something was different this time. As Alex slammed the rogue into the wall, I felt like we were both in control. Not just her. She wanted to kill him, but despite what they did to us, I didn't want that. She knocked him out for now. I just hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass later. I signaled to Blair with my head to follow behind me. She stayed close as I led us up the stairs. My wolf sensed the presence of more wolves nearby. We had to be careful. Despite this dangerous situation, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. I could feel my mate bond once again. Slowly, it came back to me until I could feel Daniel's presence. The pull was strong, it was guiding me towards him. As we reached the top of the stairs, we were met with trouble. Two rogues stood before us in wolf form, ready to take me down. Luckily, Blair backed away once she saw them. She could have gotten caught in the crossfire. Maybe I should have been scared. But I wasn't. I knew how strong my wolf wasn't. Seeing how these two wolves were smaller than her, I felt my confidence growing. Alex took the first step, pouncing on the rogue closest to us. She bit into his neck, causing some whimpers to escape from him. She moved her head around, deepening her grip on his flesh. The second wolf tried to take advantage of us being distracted by biting into Alex's stomach. She quickly noticed he was going to attack but couldn't completely move away in time. However, we got lucky since she got bit on her leg instead of her stomach. She still whimpered in pain but avoided a serious injury. After he released his teeth from her flesh, she gave him a kick with her hind legs. Alex took the chance where he'd fallen over and bit the back of his neck, ripping off a piece of flesh. As blood stained his brown coat, he lowered his head and whimpered. I almost felt bad. The other wolf pounced on Alex, but she ran out of the way last minute and bit deep into his shoulders. The wolf whimpered and cried in pain, moving away backwards after she released him. He quickly turned and ran outside, choosing to protect himself instead of fighting. Alex growled at the whimpering wolf who remained. He lowered his head submissively. I assumed this was his way of surrendering. My wolf stood proud over this rogue. Though not an injure, she had won this battle. Now that the fight was over, I felt myself shifting to control. Alex put me in the driver's seat, giving me control of her wolf. I remembered that Blair was still behind us. so I turned my head to face her. She slowly came forward towards us. Alex lowered herself so that Blair could get on. She took the hint and carefully climbed on top of me, mindful of the fresh wound. Once Blair was secured in place, I got up with caution so that she wouldn't fall. I trotted out of the building after Blair wrapped her arms around my wolf and gripped onto my fur. The remaining rogue kept his head bowed as we left, wanting to be spared. I didn't care. I just wanted to be out as far away from that place as possible and closer to my mate. My trot eventually turned into a slow run, which also picked up pace as I grew more comfortable with Blair on my back. With every step, there was a pain on my hind leg, but I ignored it. I knew everything would be okay once I was with Daniel, despite not running very fast. It felt like Daniel's presence was getting closer at an alarming rate, like he was running towards me. My wolf and I couldn't wait to be with him once again. After running as fast as I could with someone on my back, that is for a good 15 minutes, I made some good progress. There was not much distance left between me and Daniel, and I was beginning to recognize the land as the pack's territory. Just as I was beginning to feel relief, I shivered when I felt the presence of another wolf trailing behind me. Fear coursed deep through my veins, causing me to speed up with caution since Blair was still on me. Wolfheart's scent was faint but present. Unlike the past times I've encountered him, he must not have used the scent masking serum. I noticed there was a difference to his smell. Before, he used to smell of pines, of freshly made coffee. Now he had a foul scent attached to him, one that repulsed me. It was the scent of a rogue who lost himself to rage and anger. He was now a shell of the person he used to me. My mom's brother, my caring uncle, was long gone. I quickly looked behind me to see that he was catching up. My heart began to pound violently when I saw that he was on my tail. Who knows what he would do to me if he caught me? But I have a feeling he won't show mercy. I forced Alex's body, pushing it to go faster. I felt Blair slip little, but she quickly held on and readjusted herself, ripping some strands of fur in the process. The loud thumps from a fireless wolf began to hammer in my ears as he got closer, taunting me. Before I could realize what was happening, I felt a relief on my shoulders as Blair was knocked off my back. I crashed onto the ground as a large weight collided with my body. Raphael had hurled himself at my wolf. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Blair slam onto the ground about 6 feet away from me. Without her wolf's durability, that definitely had to hurt. Raphael didn't give me time to react before lunging at me, snarling at my wolf. I quickly rolled out of the way, but not without getting my back scratched by his claws. I stood on all fours and bared my teeth at Raphael. Since my parents died, he has mercilessly hurt me, and now my wolf. I would not stand for it anymore. I charged towards him, scratching his wolf's side. It didn't seem to bother him very much. He recovered quickly and growled at me before chasing after me as I tried to get away from him. He tried biting me a few times, but I managed to dodge or run out of the way. When I felt like I had run too far, I tried to come back around to where Blair was so she wouldn't be alone. Raphael continued to follow closely behind. When I slowed down, he ran into me, headhunting me. I quickly turned around and sunk my teeth into his neck, drawing blood. He whimpered but still took his opportunity to attack. He growled at my wolf and threw himself at me, knocking both of our wolves down. He quickly regained his footing and stood up, towering over my wolf who lay underneath him. He swooped down and bit into my neck, causing my wolf to howl in pain. He tore off some flesh, staining my coat with blood. Just as HES about to go for another bite, I see a brown wolf with a white underbelly jump over my head, knocking him off of me. The wolf's scent immediately relaxes me and calms my fear. It's a smell that I have come to love, one that belongs to my favorite wolf, Daniel. Chapter 40, where I see Jeremy S. Wolf rush to Blair's side before nuzzling her with his snout. She smiles weakly, wrapping her arms around the wolf's neck in an embrace. They both look at ease now that they have reunited. My eyes travel back to Daniel, who jumped at Raphael so that he wouldn't attack me. The two are now fighting each other by biting, snarling, and dodging. I weakly stand up, causing blood to drip onto the grass beneath me. Just as I was about to race to Daniel's side, Jeremy beats me to it. His wolf charges at Raphael, biting him while he is distracted with Daniel. A loud howl emits from Raphael's wolf, once that would likely be heard throughout the entire forest. Enthusiasm, in the distance. We hear wolves howling back at him. Then the presence of about 50 rogue wolves becomes known as they charge towards us in unison. We probably have a minute or two before they get here. A pack of rogues is coming. Everyone get ready for battle. I hear the former Alpha, John, shout from behind me. I turn to see any of the pack's warriors behind me. Most are in wolf form, but some are in human form. After hearing his command, the wolves howl in confirmation that they heard his order and are willing to obey. The warriors in human form respond by saying, "Yes, Alpha," despite Jeremy now having that title. I assume they call John up because Jeremy technically hasn't assumed all the responsibilities that come with the Alpha position. I turn my attention back to Daniel, Raphael, and Jeremy to find that Jeremy is now losing to Raphael. Daniel tries to intervene, but the rogues run into the clearing from behind a few trees. He has no choice but to fight them or get attacked. Jeremy tries to fight back, but Raphael is more experienced than him in fighting. Just as Raphael is about to bite into Jeremy's neck, which would most likely have been lethal, I hear a panicked cry. "Wait. Please. Just wait." Everyone, including Raphael, pauses and turns to Alpha John. "Please," he begs. "Let's just find a way to end this peacefully. There's no need for anyone to get hurt." Shivers run down my spine as a hysterical laugh echoes in my head. "Now you want peace? After what you've done? It's your fault we're here in the first place." Raphael's voice sounded to remind Lincoln, judging by the looks on everyone and every wolf's faces. They all heard it too. Your high and mighty Alpha sent 2 loyal pack members to their death. Remember Tara and Fletcher? That was my sister and her mate. He killed them and then tried to cover it up. He showed no remorse for what he did. Everyone looked around in confusion, not knowing if they should believe him or not. Achius heartless and only cares about himself. Why do you think you're here in the first place? This time Achius risking the lives of others to save himself. Achius risking your life. Immediately, the silence was filled with whispers and uneasy looks from pack members. Now your Alpha is gonna see what it feels like to lose someone he loves. Raphael growled at Jeremy and was about to attack. But Lucas, whose wolf had been slowly creeping towards them during Raphael's villain monologue, jumped at Raphael and freed Jeremy from his grasp. Immediately after, many pack members charged forward as rogues began to run into the clearing we were all in. Soon, an all-out war broke out. Rogues versus the Silvercoat pack. Despite my injuries, my wolf and I decided to join in the battle, to fight for our pack. As a rogue charged towards me, I prepared to fight. After fighting him off, there was another, then another. They seemed to never end. The more we fought, the more that came flooding into the sea lining. After I finished fighting off yet another rogue, I see that Daniel is being outnumbered by wolves. For against one isn't a fight. Achi is struggling to keep up and is beginning to lose to them. Scratches and bite marks covering his body. I howl before running towards him to help him. Before I can reach him, another rogue charges at me and makes me lose my footing, causing me to stumble to the ground. I ignore the wolf that's out for my blood and continue to race to Daniel. His wolf let out an agonizing whimper. I see that he is being bitten by 3 wolves at once. The 4th rogue charges at him and launches him towards a tree. His wolf's body goes limp, causing my heart to shatter at the sight of him. When in close enough, I charge at one of the 4 wolves attacking him, biting its neck until I hear a snap. Its body falls to the ground, no longer breathing. I'm willing to show mercy when it comes to me, but if it's my mate that's in danger, I'll do what it takes. The 3 rogues turn their attention to me, now growling and baring their teeth at me. The 4th wolf that was after me now joined them. I was cornered. They charge at me at once, and despite my fear, I do the same. The pack warriors see my situation and join me, helping me take down the wolves. They charge next to me, one taking on one wolf and the other taking on two. I charged at the rogue in front of me, biting its lower neck. I bite as hard as I can but can't get its neck to snap. It yelps in pain before banging my wolf with its head. It runs towards me but I jump out of the way last minute. While it's turning around, I jump over it, landing on top of it and biting its neck once again. This time, the wolf's neck cracks before it falls limp. Now that the rogues were taken care of, I run towards Daniel. His wolf's pulse was faint but still there. He lay unconscious against the tree, causing my wolf to whimper. His body was covered with wounds and gashes. My wolf whimpered and my heart ached knowing that he was in pain. I gently caressed his face with my snout before licking just beside his nose. I wanted the battle to end quickly so he could get some medical attention before it was too late. I wanted to help end things faster, but I didn't want to leave his side. I didn't want anyone hurting him while he couldn't fight back. I looked to the battlefield to see that the rogues are losing. Though a lot of our warriors are down, we still greatly outnumber the rogues. There are not that many left, but Raphael is helping them push forward with his skilled wolf. I notice Raphael looking around, searching for something or someone. He bares his teeth when he sees Jeremy then charges towards him. Jeremy is busy fighting another rogue so he doesn't notice Raphael charging at him. I quickly rise to my feet and begin running towards him, but Alpha-John jumps in front of Jeremy, now in wolf form, turning the attention to him. Raphael charges at Alpha-John, tackling him and attacking. His wolf gets a nasty bite on his stomach, blood oozing out quickly. The aged Alpha tries to fight back, but he has other wounds that are slowing him down. Raphael has the upper hand as Alpha-John struggles to defend himself. Jeremy finishes off the rogue and turns to see Raphael snapping his father's neck with his jaw. The Alpha's body limply falls to the ground. His sacrifice saved his son's life but cost him his own. Jeremy howls in pain after watching his father fall before his eyes. He directs his attention to Raphael, whose wolf is looking smug and content. Jeremy snarls at Raphael, knocking him over in the blink of an eye. Raphael scratches at Jeremy with his claws but Jeremy doesn't budge. He tries to bite Raphael's neck, but he dodges and attempts to run away from him. Jeremy's wolf holds no mercy as strong emotions overwhelm him. He feels pain, sadness, and anger, but no remorse for what he is about to do. I watch as Jeremy charges at Raphael in the blink of an eye, digging his canines into Raphael's neck and ripping out his flesh. He goes back in for another bite, stopping only until he hears a crack and my uncle takes his last breath.